one thing about Stefan that you guys don't know is he was one of the first in the world to get to use the 1080 cable. Being a physio over in Sweden next to our headquarters, he got to actually dive into this and with a really neat case study that I think you're going to learn something from of how he's applied this kind of technology. So without further ado, we're going to join. Stefan's going to go ahead and take over the screen, and we look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Thank you so much, Adam. And thank you for having me in this format. I would just like to start to introduce myself a little bit, even though Adam did a great job, and what I will be talking about. So, me myself on the picture on the left, as you can see, is I'm a physiotherapist, and I'm working a lot with sports injuries and sports performance health, and we also do some uh, preparations for athletes as in training before going into season and stuff like that. So we have a lot of sports focus, but we also do have like injury rehab with the regular patients as well. And we work with the biological treatment as such as stem cells and PRP and stuff like that, which is not very normal to do here in Sweden. I know you guys in the United States are doing it a lot more, and we are learning a lot from the United States, but we are working in high end in Sweden anyway, we like to think. But on the side from this is my day-to-day work. But from aside from that, I do a lot of coaching, and I do coaching with athletes from every level, from starting level, from youth and junior, all the way up to the senior and veterans. So I've been coaching a lot in powerlifting and weightlifting. And that comes from my experience as a physiotherapist. Of course, I use a lot of knowledge from that, but I have also been competing a lot in powerlifting, strongman, and in weightlifting as well. So I have my own career. My best results are around the 10th in Europe and 13 in the world in weightlifting, and I've been winning a lot of like Swedish championship, Nordic championships in both powerlifting and in weightlifting. So that's where I come from as in sports. And the guy on my left on the picture and on the right in the if you look at the screen, who's doing a double biceps, that his name is Emil Norling. And he's the example athlete in this case, which he has been using the 1080 cable for like 6 months now. And this is what we will talk a little bit about, like the basic ideas that we use regularly in the strength training concept with training Emil, and how we add the 1080 cable into this philosophy, and what difference that made for us, I would say. So I will start off as like a little bit of the experience of using the 1080 cable, and presenting. I will present a little bit more about Emily first, so you know that he's actually good. uh, he's a five-time European champion, and he won the world champion title one time. He has runner-up, I think, two times, and third he has been two times as well. So he has been on the podium for at least five or six times in the senior world championships. He's a two times SBD Sheffield contender, which is one of the highest. It's even like better than the world championships because when you win the world championships, you get an invite to get to the SBD Sheffield championships, which is like a competition where all the world champions meet and try to break new world records. And he has been invited for his second time in this competition, which is an honor. He was the first ever World Cup contender in China. He got a third place there, which is like uh, they are competing with the Olympics. The sports that are not in the Olympics, they want to be in the Olympics. They are usually in the World Cup in a special competition, which was held in China this year, and he got the third place there. So powerlifting is not a sport that is represented in the Olympics, but I think soon it will be, and hopefully Emil will be there to experience to be able to compete in the Olympics with powerlifting. So he has been training 11 years with me. He started us off as a junior, and we got the junior world championships. He won the title as a junior world champion. But after a certain time, we have been developing him in different ways, in different manners, and he has been experiencing some hard times and good times and so on. But every year we have this goal to become a little bit better every year. But we experienced a plateau with him after maybe 8 or 9 years of training. We had a hard time to reach the new level. And we were trying to figure out what it was, but there's always hard with powerlifting and strength training to know what is actually going on, because we knew that we couldn't train him harder, just putting more training, because he was already training in a very high level. So I was very afraid of putting on more load with more volume or more intensity, because I was afraid to injure him. So we were trying to look at other aspects of his life, like, are you able to rest more? Are you able to eat differently? Are you able to do something that can do this shift inside, so you can take the next step? And that's where the 1080 cable came in this 6 months ago. And we actually we got to break the plateau, because he had like a 2-year plateau with not breaking any new records, which was very frustrating for both him and me. So it was starting to get to his motivation a little bit. But now we regained a lot of motivation by breaking the plateau. So it was very important for his career. And I can say now that the thing that we used most to do this was the concentric speed limit and the eccentric overload, which I will explain how we did and what we saw as the key factor. But that was definitely the thing that got us through and got us to break new records. I will first show you a little bit of a little video that we made. We went to his home, and he will explain in his own words, and I will explain a little bit in this video. It's a 2-minute video, so I will just hit the play button and enjoy, and I will present even more after this. So we start off with this video.
My name is Emil Norling, and I'm a world champion in classic powerlifting. I've been using the 1080 cable for the last 3 months. One of the biggest differences using the 1080 cable is the ability to use eccentric overload. The benefit for me is that I, in a safe and controlled way, can overload the muscle. In this short period of time, I have been able to push my personal best in squat, bench, and deadlift. My name is Stefan Ågren, and I'm the coach for Emil Norling. I'm a physiotherapist and also elite coach in powerlifting and weightlifting, and also I've been training a lot myself and competing in the highest level in the world weightlifting. My experience is that we can find new ways to combine eccentric overload with already high volume training, for example. And this gives us the opportunity to reach even higher exhaustion of the muscle and still not become fatigued. We can also use the concentric speed limit, which is interesting because for the first time ever with weightlifting or powerlifting, we can use more than just one rep and call it rep maximum. Before we had to do like 90%, 95%, and the last one can be 100%. But in this use case, we can push all the way in every single rep. We have found a way of working with the machine that has given us measurable improvements. This is just a start, and we are looking forward to keep on working with the 1080 cable. Yeah, this is just the beginning.
Yeah, so as you can see in this video, we have been using the 1080 cable with connected with the lifts that are already in his sport. So we've been very like my concern was not to do exercises that was not connected to powerlifting. So I wanted to be real squats. I wanted to be real deadlifts. So it's not just strengthening one muscle, because my point of view was that you can already do that in the gym. You can go to a specific muscle and do like a cable pull or something like that to gain strength in a certain muscle. But I wanted to be gaining strength in the actual chain that we are trying to improve, like for a very close to the actual squat that we are trying to improve, or the deadlift, or bench press if possible. So we had to do like figuring out how to connect the machine to the bar or to the athlete, and to make it comfortable to lift, and we actually made it very usable for Emil, and he was able to improve his results. So that was a big success for us. So this is just a picture of him using this technique, and he has the 1080 cable connected to him from behind in this pole, and we have connected the string to the floor and then to the bar. This is just like this is what we made up, and there will be a product that is more like an adapter that you can just connect to the bar. But the thing with this one is that he will pull the bar as very like as he's used to do it, but I can control the weights in a whole different way. So I can control the way up, I can control the weights down, I can control the speed, and I can watch how he performed afterwards. So it's not just a matter of him looking at him doing a deadlift now. I can do it with surveillance of his performance, which is a new thing in powerlifting or strength training. Before, if I would have done that before, I had to like stand with a stopwatch to see how fast he was lifting, and then I have to do some calculations to see what that actually means. But now we get that result directly, which is very beneficial for you as a coach. And this was also an exercise that we did a lot before this last competition, where he broke his current records. He had been struggling a lot with bench press, and we did an analysis that I could see that what was lacking in his bench press was his strength in triceps. He was pretty strong in chest and in shoulders, but he was lacking strength specifically in triceps. And I was looking for the perfect like angle and the way to overload the muscle with eccentric overload, and see if we could have a crossover effect, which was not use it as a bench press exercise, but to use a specific muscle, but in a specific way with a specific purpose. So we did a lot of triceps behind the head with eccentric overload. As you can see now, he's on gear 2, which means that he's pretty strong already. But it was easy to see that he could progress in this exercise, and it paid off as we were hoping. So he broke like I think when we started off with the 1080, he had a personal best of 211 kilos in the bench press. And latest competition he did 220, which is it was a huge difference in our world. So we're very happy with that. If you take it in general terms, like if this is how we used it with Emil, in like I will come back a little bit with examples, but how I connected it, how I was thinking with my own like principles of strength training, is like, as you know, if you're a coach and you use strength training a lot, you know that the research area of strength training is very difficult to control. The metrics are very hard to control, and you only have to rely on like one RM, like the rep maximum is your best like evaluation. And as soon as you do one rep max, the athlete is like in a new state. Like you cannot do one rep max to see where the athlete are, and then do training like from this new knowledge of one rep maximum, because he has to recover from that rep maximum. So as soon as you do the rep maximum, he's in another state where you have to do another type of training to get him back to that rep maximum, if you can say like a little bit like that. So it's very hard to know in advance what you should do to get results, especially when you have an athlete that is already on a really high level. And we lack a lot of research on these athletes. You can find research on beginners, and you can find research on intermediate performance, like people that are performing maybe 150, 200 kilos in a squat, or like 200 kilos in a deadlift, but that is nowhere near what these guys are performing. Like, for example, Emil Norling is doing 380 kilos in deadlift, which is one of the best results we have had in Sweden if in ever. Like, so we cannot compare his training to another athlete that is on the same level with any like statistics or research. So that's the hard part. But why you should do strength training from the beginning, like how I think about it is like, if you build a strong engine, you can trim that engine in whatever direction you desire. So if you take an example from powerlifting and use it for another sports, you can say like, if I would train a hockey player, or if I train a soccer player, uh, I would argue that it's a good idea to start off with building a base of strength training, because that will result in less injuries, and it will increase your self-efficacy. That is something that we know, we can say that we know. And that is also an example from weightlifting. You can see there's some research implying that if you have a high rep maximum in squats, you're not as likely to get injured from doing squat snatches and clean and jerk. So that goes for powerlifters, that goes for weightlifters, and that also goes for like hockey players and soccer players. So you need some type of base of strength in a lot of sports, but the level of strength is required differs from sport to sport, of course. So the question is how to get that type of strength that you need. So I always do an analysis of the athlete that I have. And I do this pyramid model, and I try to like understand what type of uh, how this athlete is performing already. So if you have a powerlifter, they should have a lot of base training, like they should have a basic strength in the bottom. They can also have some of the explosive what do you say, explosivity in them, but they have very, very little plyometric power because they never use it. So in like comparison, the base of the pyramid is very big in a powerlifter, and it shortens off, and the top is non-existing. If you compare to a weightlifter, they need to have a lot more explosivity, and even a little bit more plyometric power, not as much basic. But if you compare that to like a sprinter, they just want the base to be as big as they need it to be, because a bigger base is not directly meaning it's gonna be better. A big base is good if it can make the top become higher. So you need to understand what the athlete already has and what you want to build. So, but whatever athlete you have in front of you, you want to build. You want to start with the base, because the base is determining how high the top can be. Because if you start to train plyometric, a lot of plyometric exercises with a person that is not strong in any way, the risk of injury is very high. So this is like the analysis that we always try to do. So the other thing with training over a period of time is determine what type of thing you want to put a lot of effort into. Like the regular the differs between volume and intensity is the normal way to do it, which is the thing that we have been using for many years. You can use it for like a short period of time. You can differ from week to week, or you can differ from like month to month, or 3 weeks, or 3 months with high volume, and then you go into high intensity, which basically means that either you do a lot of reps with a lot of weights to try to get a big volume into your training, or you decrease the volume and then you do a lot of heavy reps, so you not have too much volume, but you have heavier reps. So this is the normal way to do it, and we do it as well. But lately, I have already been thinking of adding watt-based training. So that gives you like the opportunity to see if you're in between volume and intensity, you can add watt-based training. So that was already an idea that we had been starting to use. So like the time between volume and intensity, we added a lot of explosivity, but we had really actually no idea what we were doing, because it's so hard to measure. Because if you do fast twitch squats, for example, it differs a lot. If you use like 100 kilos doing a fast squat, what feels fast is not the same as being fast. So it's always like you go for 100% or you go for 70%. It's very hard to determine for the athlete regarding how tired he is or she is. So we need something to measure that with. And the 1080 cable can help you with that, because if you connect to the string, you can see the watt on the screen, and then we can have like a target watt that we want to do. So this is very helpful, because when we've been trying to do this type of training now for a while, I can see that the athlete is always in high level of training, is never like losing any days or weeks in training. Instead, we are always pushing it forward without risk of injury, because we are always shifting between different types of training, which has shown to be beneficial for Emil, for example. And as I said, you can use this like in short period of time, like use the micro circle, or you can use the year-based circle. It depends on what type of athlete you have in front of you. If you have like a hockey player, you have to take in account that he will go to ice and play hockey for a while, and you will not have access to the athlete, so you have to wait until he's actually matured into the off-season training, when he wants to do like heavier training with the strength coach. So that's when you have access to the athlete, and then you cannot do like a 1-year plan with this athlete, where you want to do like explosivity, plyometrics, and then base training, because they will collect the athlete back to the ice again, and you will only like reach 30% of your plan. So then you have to use a microcircle in the time that you are given. But if you have the opportunity to train a strength athlete, as I have, I can do a really long planning. Like I can. I have been doing like a 10-year plan with Emil, which includes everything from every rep count, but also every session counts. Because if you zoom out, you can see like we only do deadlifts 1 time a week because he's doing very heavy deadlifts. So if you divide it into a year, you can see that we are calculating with him being sick. We are calculating with him having like maybe 1 week off. So let's say you do 50 sessions a year with deadlift. If he loses one session that from not doing good planning, or the session is not quality, we don't have good quality in this session, just one session, that will be 2% of the complete training of deadlift of the year. And if that continues, like he loses 3, is 6% off. So it becomes very vulnerable. And then if you think about it like that, you will understand that every rep is counting. I don't want him to do just sloppy reps, going into the gym and just make a session, get it over with. I want him to be focused, and I want him to know what to do in every rep. And I'm sure that is a very important thing for him to be able to perform. It's not going to do a big difference in like 3 or 4 weeks. It's going to be a big difference within 5 years or 6 years of training, and that's what it takes to become like the world champion. So that's a philosophy that's been we've been having all the time, and it has only become easier with the 1080 cable. So I've been on this already, but it's the thing with the 1080 cable. I think for me it has been like a safe way to overload with full control. I know what we are doing because you can monitoring the training, like in those exercises that you want to be monitoring, you can always do it. You can record data, which is takes a lot of time off your hand. If you want to be monitoring an athlete, you can either tell them to write down everything they do, or you can stand on the side and write down everything they do, or you can just let the machine record it, and you can have a look at it when you have time, and you can compare like session to session, which can be very interesting and very like give you a new idea of what is actually happening during the training. And as I was saying, like making a lift is not the same thing as performing a lift. And what I mean about that is, if you have a couple of athletes training, they can all use the same weight, but you can see that one is giving it all, and the other person is just doing the reps. And regarding the difference in how many watts they are creating, that's going to be a very big difference between these two athletes. If someone is just going up and down, if someone is actually lifting the weight, and that depends on what we are aiming for. And it saves time. If you have a lot of athletes, you just need like 2 harnesses if you're doing squat, or you can, if it's the same handle, just click your name and then you start training. Like the session is already there. You don't have to use like weight plates. You don't have to shift weight plates. You don't have to do anything like that. You just click on the screen and there you go. It's just start your training. So it's very time efficient, and it's very like small machine compared to what the power it contains. So it's very good. And there's the same like interface when you're looking at the screen as with the 1080 sprint. So if you're already using the 1080 sprint, you can connect your results. Like when you want to do more strength training, you can go to the cable and then you can use that data and you can use that knowledge from the 1080 cable and connect it to your sprint. So with short time on your hands, it's very important to be very efficient with your training. So like when we're talking about running, we don't want junk miles. We want every mile to count. That's the same thing goes with strength training. We don't want to just to do training. We want to do training that actually counts. That's another thing that we have been looking at is the best benefit of combining exercise. As I showed with Emil, he's using the squats and the deadlifts, which is very close to what he's competing in. Combining exercise with the knowledge of how he's performing the rep and actually just using the eccentric overload. I call it 100% accurate drop sets, and that's using the concentric speed limit, and I will show you an example of that. And the thing with the that you can monitoring watt is instead of just using pounds or kilos. So this is an example of combining exercises you have been seeing. So this is how I been looking at the rep, like the drop set, or if you use the concentric speed limit. A regular use of if you're using a barbell and you do a regular squat and you get the task is to do like 4 reps as heavy as you can. There will be this thing that you see. The yellow bar is how much effort you need to do, and the gray bar is how much you still have in the tank. So for the first rep, you will hit like 80% of your rep maximum. For the second rep, you will hit like 90%. For the third rep, you will hit 95%. And for the fourth rep, if you make it, you will be close to 100. But you will never know if it was actually 100. You will know that it was below 100 because you made it. But it's never going to be 100. And I've always been jealous about sprinters, for example, that can run and they say, I will do 4 max sprints. So I run everything I got to one side and then I rest and then I run all I got to the next side and I rest. And you know that this will be 100% because it gives everything you got. And he will perform less in every rep he does, but you know that he's giving 100%. And we are not having like the opportunity to do that in squat because it would require like a 1080 cable, which we now have. So it will be the other way around. You will always do like 100% of your capacity, which I will show in this case. You will not have anything left in the tank, but you will perform regarding to like your rep maximum. The first rep will be 100% because the machine is it has like a brake, but you push as hard as you can with this concentric speed limit. So the machine is pulling on the brakes, but you pushing as much as you can. Next rep number 2, you will not perform as good, but it will still be 100% of what you will be able to do. And in the third and in the fourth rep. So you will perform less and less and less, but it's always 100% of what you can actually give. So that's what's important and interesting actually, if you want to reach fatigue or reach an exhaustion in the muscle. I'm sure you're already familiar with like the difference between watts and kilos, like what's the difference. But as an example, if you do a regular deadlift with 100 kilos, let's say you lifted us 0.5 meters in 1 second, that's going to be 500 watts. But if you do a clean with a barbell, you will lift it over 1 meter and you do it in a short, like half a second, that would become like 800 watts. This is a simplification of how you would calculate it. But the general idea is that it will differ a lot how you lift and how fast you lift the weight. With no like actual real-time measurement of this, you will become very, very confused on how many watts you have actually performed. And that has always been like an insecurity for me when I've been starting to use a watt-based training for strength training, which has been a very difficult up until now. So as to sum it up, I would say that like if you want, why you should use the 1080 cable, uh, like with three words or three sentences, is like all the regular benefits from strength training is there. Like there's no difference between using like dumbbells or barbells. You can do it all with the 1080 cable. Just the imagination is the limitation, but you can monitoring and always like hit the target as you please. If you want to do eccentric overload, you will decide in advance how much eccentric overload you want. You can use this concentric speed limit. You can monitoring the watts. So you will get more control of always hitting the target and not just perform, not just be there in the gym and do training. You will perform training, which is the benefit, I would say. So that was a little bit about my experience with the 1080 cable, and I don't know if there's any questions, but I will be happy to try to answer as many as we have time for.
Yeah, we have a few questions. I do want to clarify one thing. If you'll go back a couple slides, Stefan, to the one where, yes, I think this one really is an important concept, and I love how you pulled together what a sprinter does and how that's different in the weight room when we're doing strength training. Uh, I think people that have never experienced like a 1080 cable or motorized resistance doing isokinetic, we're talking about setting a speed limit or a brake, as you said. What, for instance, with your experience, what kind of speed settings are we putting on the 1080 cable with the athlete, Emil? Like, is that 0.3 meters per second on a squat? Is that 0.2? Maybe give us a little bit more of what you're utilizing for
Yeah,
practical.
I've been looking actually if about how fast he's using lifting when he's does like a competition lift, and it is usually around 0.2
Mm.
meters per second. So that's what we have been using, and it differs a little bit if he's really tired or we want to make him really tired, we can use like 0.1 to make it like really, really slow and heavy. Because then it depends if you want to use like time under tension, or do you want to be competition like, or do you want it to be like a little bit more concentric speed limit with a little bit more explosivity. It depends on what type of goal you set for the session.
Well done, sir. Quick question. Because I've been toying with this obviously too. What's the intent when you're using isokinetics? Do you keep it at full throttle, or do you give do you change up targets for intensities sometimes? And if so, how do you do that?
Well, I would say we have been using it as like full throttle, like when we really want to push it, because that's the thing that I've been really missing with regular strength training. So now with the when you can put it in the speed limit, um, just give it everything you got. So you don't have to be worried about actually making the lift, because that's also a thing. Now, Emil is so experienced, but if you have a less experienced lifter, they have a tendency to become scared when they want to do a very heavy lift. So if we combine the exercise, like they have a barbell on the back, so they recognize the exercise, but they only have like 60 kilos on the bar, but the concentric speed limit is breaking with 170 kilos, for example. They don't have to be worried about not getting up, because They know that if they just perform 60 kilos, they will still be able to rise up. So just give it everything you got and let's see how much you got today. That has been like the biggest benefit, I would say, and the most interesting thing that for me to use.
And to follow up that question, say you go 0.1, that's obviously brutal,
Right.
or terrible, um, in a good way, in a good way. But the question is then how do you set up number of sets and reps when you play with velocities? Like how do you program that? Or do you have a thought process behind that? Because I think some people may find that very interesting. And I've seen different programs used when they change up velocities.
Yeah. I for Emil, as we have been using this example for, it's usually around. It's never been more than 4 reps because um, uh, he would. I mean, for us, the target is to go for 1 rep maximum. That's what he's competing in. So we want it to be within like. Uh, I haven't thought about it even to go like to 10 rep with the concentric speed limit, because I would say that the last reps would be so far away from what he's trying to perform in a competition. Uh, in that use case like that, we are trying to get the max out of every rep. So what I have been like playing with is 1, 2, 3, or 4 reps with the concentric speed limit. But I would say that it would be interesting if you have another type of athlete, for example, like someone doing skiing, alpine skiing, or something like that. You know how fast they need to move up and down, for example. Then they will be more curious about maybe do 30 reps because that's what they. I mean, it's just to be calculating how many reps they do for squats during a slope or something like that. So um, that can be interesting as well. And I think that for a weightlifter, it can be interesting to do concentric speed limit in a very much higher velocity to see how much resistance they can reach in a high velocity resistance. How much can you push through like 4 meters per second? Are you able to push the machine any higher if you use like where's your sweet spot in almost a jump? If
No,
you understand what I mean.
yeah, no, because I've seen different models used there, and it's interesting that you say because this is exactly what we've done with alpine skiing in Norway, or some of my colleagues have, and that's been 30 reps.
Yeah. I was.
Yeah, because it's a different thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because for an alpine skier, it's more interesting to be performing in this from 25 to 30 reps. I mean, this
Yeah.
last 5 reps is probably what makes them go faster in the like end of the slope, which is
Case
determining the medals.
case and point. Exactly.
So, but for Emil, it would be like, I don't know. He's always doing 1 rep at the podium, so we were close to that
Yep.
rep range.
So I think it's important for people listening that they hear those reflections based upon why Stefan is doing what he's doing. And also keep the sport and what you're trying to target in the back of your mind when you set these things up. I think that's important to consider. So thank you for
Yeah,
thank you for sharing that.
Well, that's a good point though, Stefan. You have been working on another project that you and I've discussed with the football athletes or soccer, as in America we would say. Are you taking some different principles for that? I'm not expecting you to lay out the whole plan, but as you're working with these coaches to start integrating the cable into just a good strength training program, how are you looking at that different than you're working with Emil?
yeah. It's going to be a whole different story because they will perform what we were trying to do with these soccer players is to make them. We want to make them perform better in vertical jump for them to be able win like the duels in the air, and hopefully even run faster. But the difference is that they will not just jump one time during a match. They will probably jump many times. So in some way we have to like figure out the sweet spots for them to jump in after a couple of reps of or after running or something like that to make it close to what they're performing in their everyday activity. So it's going to be a completely different story. But the good thing with them is that like the one challenge with Emil is he has been always a little bit stronger than the machine when we are doing deadlifts and power or squats and stuff. And the soccer players, I would say, probably is not stronger than the machine. So uh, in that way, we can just use the machine and the utilities that are coming with the machine, which is going to be much easier to change and shift. So it's going to be a little bit of experimenting in the beginning, but I think we will find like the sweet spot of how to use it uh, to make them perform better on the soccer field. Like.
All right, my last question then for you is you mentioned in your presentation uh, you like to plan out, especially with this type of athlete that you have control to work with over a whole year. You actually put into your programming like, hey, this is what reps we're doing and sets we're doing throughout the year. When you brought this new piece of technology, right? So 2 years ago, you weren't even thinking this way. We present with the 1080 cable, and now boom, we have new opportunities to really tear up what you've been doing before and then reset the framework of how you're going to train, not only to hit those plateaus, which you've already surpassed. What things in 2026 are you going to be doing that looks different? And I'm not trying to give you all your secrets away to your competitors here, but I'm interested like with this, like when you have this kind of power at hand, and this is still very new for people, what are you going to do? What are you thinking different?
I'm still gonna work a lot more with the shift from this is always like you have to be thinking when you have a very mature athlete as Emil, um, the shift from volume, intensity, and explosivity is going to be very, very important. How much time do we put into each part of the program? So the thing with that is to try to understand and try to measure when is the best time to shift from volume to intensity or from volume to explosivity, and see if we can have like a pattern, and see like I want the pattern to be like going up and down, but in always go a little bit up. So in like from 1 year from now to 1 year ahead, I want Eamon to be like a couple of percent better than he is today, and that would be really very interesting to see if we can find that pattern with the help of the 1080, I would say.
If we invite you back to do this in a year, what would be absolutely brilliant and fantastic would actually to have some of the training data to look at how you set up the periodization, how he performed, what was his force output, like how you shifted, when did you shift, why did you shift? Oh boy, he's plateauing here. We need to change gears. Like a full training diary story backed by the data from the 1080. Obviously, I know he's doing other stuff too, but could be a very, very interesting journey to document. And I think a
Yeah,
lot of people will find it extremely interesting.
yeah, definitely.
Not only
uh,
myself, not only myself, I think
I'd
others
raise
as
my
well.
hand. I'd find it very interesting.
yeah,
So
yeah.
this is a really cool opportunity, Stefan.
Yeah, it
This is
is. It is. And as I said before, this is what I've been like pulling my hair to try to understand before, like how can we know that we are doing something right, and not just like every time I've been so jealous of endurance athletes, they have so much things to measure. They measure their pulse, they measure their breathing, they measure their lactate levels, they are measuring their running times, they can measure everything. They can even like put like how do I perform after 3 miles of running? Is there a difference from before when I was running and until I reached 3 miles? So they have all the data all the time, and it's very easy for them to record it and have a look at it. And in a strength sport, we have nothing. We have just guesses and what is the best guess. And if we can level up from that and not using best guess, but using like actual real knowledge of how the body adapt and how you need to shift and change to get a result. I'm sure that we will reach new levels with a lot of athletes by doing so.
I
I have
agree.
one last question, quick one, and then Adam can take us home and we'll get this thing done in an hour. And it's good that you're on this slide. So the big light bulb for me is that this is all just really good training, as simple as it sounds. Like, how do we progress volume and intensity? How do we break through plateaus? You've been working with this athlete for 10 years and you got him to, a world champion level without the cable, right?
Yeah.
But with a motor and a line and data, how does it help us, apply these training principles better, more precise when you're doing power-based or watt-based training? What are the actual watts, right? And the example here with the percentage drop-offs, like those have been around for VBT, for however long, linear transducers have kind of been around. So for, the people on this call, the attendees, they're probably familiar with velocity-based training and just that idea. So they might be familiar with, 10% drop-offs for performance, 40% drop-offs for quote hypertrophy, and then 20 is kind of somewhere in the middle. Those are like the three main kind of thresholds. But with, I thought it was an awesome example. It got a big light bulb for me about how the first rep, if it is truly 100%, like you'll get an average force number for that lift in an isokinetic. So within this super kind of relatively small rep range, 4 rep is kind of the most you do. Is it always hitting 4 and you learned what percent drop off that yields, or sometimes will it just be, a 20%, and if it's only 2 reps, it's kind of only 2 reps? So how do you bounce back and forth in this window of 4 between getting all 4 done, the percent drop off, or kind of can we get into some of the specifics of this percent drop off idea with the isokinetics? I think it's super interesting.
I wish I could give you a very good answer right now but actually, as in right now, we have been using it for too short period of time to be actually have this knowledge, I would say, because every time we do it, it's in it's always in the same cycle. Like we try to overload the muscle. That's just the first thing that I was like I jumped on. Like now I want to overload the muscle, so let's do isokinetic speed, like the speed limit. But that's a really interesting thing that how would I differ from like 2 reps, 4 reps, and what would I expect, and how do I analyze the drop off if he's like he performing good in 1, 2, 3, but the fourth rep is dropping off, and what does that mean? Is it do we push it all the way to 1, 2 and drop off at 3 and even greater drop off at 4? That's when we shift. So that's gonna be that's probably a good journey to dive into.
Something for the next webinar.
Yeah,
Something
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
something for next year,
yeah,
because then you have more experience, more data, you know.
definitely.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're still on the cusp, right? We're
Yeah.
still digging in. So thank you, Stefan, for doing this today and sharing your experiences. I feel bad we named it Every Rep Counts because we really should have called it Nothing Left in the Tank. So
Yeah.
we'll continue this conversation, I know, in the future, but it was really good to have you, and thank you for joining us today and being a part of this. So for everyone out there, thanks for joining. Have a great rest of your day. Make strength happen, and we'll talk to you next time.